Right, just testing this quickly to make sure that my voice is working. All working good? Okay, welcome to ALR's first race of season 11. We are at Imola, so that's the first time we're racing at Imola on this game. We've got a stacked tier 4 this season because it's kind of a mixture of tier 3 drivers from last season, like the kind of lower half that I commentated on, and then a bunch of the tier 5 guys. So we've got, let's just go through quickly. So we've got Wicked Prophet, who did really well in tier 5, excuse me, was challenging for the title. Seb managed to get a podium last season in tier 3, but was a bit inconsistent. Joker Psycho, who was in tier 5, and Daniel Gonzalez as well. Pizemu, who was just like solidly, reliably in the lower end of the points in tier 3. Hallinan, who probably would have won the title in tier 5 had he not missed the last 2 rounds. Almighty is brand new. Will the Game nearly won the Sprint League last season and was quite solid in tier 3. One-Eyed Falcon and Dove were from tier 5. Zab was in tier 3, solidly kind of on the lower end of the points most of the season. Akasim has come from tier 5. Roller Ruler's actually dropped down from tier 2. So expect big things from him. Shkone, who was battling near the front for a fair amount of last season in tier 3, as well as Chris T, who ended up getting that race win. Slimmy Cam, who was in tier 3, a little bit inconsistent, so we'll be looking for a bit more consistency this time around. Matt, who, we'll call him CT for the season. He was in tier 5 and won the Constructors' Championship. Always qualifies at the back and just kind of sails through to try and avoid incidents and get as many points as he can. Saeed, who spent one race in tier 5 before being promoted to tier 3 and finished 6th in that tier. So quite a stacked grid. We've nearly got a full grid as well. Oh, we've got Nova, who had a pole position last season in tier 3 as well. So it looks like everyone is getting a bit impatient and ready to go. We're going to have telemetry this season as well, which is really good. So I'll be able to follow the right people in qualifying this season. And just bear with me because I'm just going to set a few things up to make sure that I have access to the stream and telemetry. Okay, so I'll just pop that there in case there's anyone in the chat. There's no one in at the moment, so I don't really have to worry about that. And we will be getting the telemetry coming through pretty soon. I was meant to be joined with the co-commentator Font, but he's been having trouble with joining the lobby, so he might join a little bit later on, but we'll see. Because we know that this game likes to be a bit problematic with its glitching. So we've got qualifying coming up. Let's see. Oh, he's just said it's impossible. No worries, Font. Let me just message him back. So, I'm expecting a two-way fight for pole here between Nova and Chris T, but it is raining. So let's just set up the broadcast properly. So we like to go on TV pod on the camera type to see how people are tackling these corners. Gap to the fastest lap. Tires. Looks like some people are maybe trying to go out on inters, so that could be an indication that the rain might be getting lighter. Let's get the telemetry, the lap data, and the full track. So no one's coming out yet. I'm just waiting for the telemetry to come through. Actually, let me just log in. I'll do it the old-fashioned way. Get on the dashboard. So, the weather. So, for qualification, it says storm, storm, and then after 10 minutes, light rain. So, we might not see too many people out on the track to begin with, because these early laps will be just to get a feeler. They will be setting their laps on dry setups as well, because the race is forecast to be dry. Chance of rain at the start is about 22%, and then it drops to 9% by the end of the race. So, yeah, it's gonna... Oh, as we see Dove, and Akasin's already out. Matt's retired on purpose. Dove's managed to keep it out of the wall so he can get going again. But let's join Prezemu, who is... Ooh, let me just hide that as well. That's not very good. Prezemu is the one that is the furthest up on the track, as it looks like another car's gone off further behind, as these guys are struggling so far with the wet conditions, even though it's on an outlap. Probably just trying to find what they can get away with. So everyone apart from Seb is on the wets. Let's just follow Seb around whilst we're on these outlaps to see if he can actually tackle these corners. We want to stay off the white lines and the curbs, and that's what the challenge is with this track, really, because it is a curb crawling track. If you tackle the curbs aggressively, you really gain a lot more lap time than anything, and then in any other track on the calendar, to be honest. I mean, look how much curb you're able to take. But let's join Prezemu as the first person to attempt to set a hot lap in Season 11, Tier 4 of ALR. And we'll just keep an eye on the telemetry as well to see who's going purple. So he's going very gingerly through the first sector, which is understandable. You don't want to retire when the forecast is due to get lighter and inters will come into play. And he's going to come up to an Alpha Tauri pretty soon, who's on an outlap. So hopefully that Alpha Tauri gets nice out of the way for him. So his first sector was a 28.1 on wet tires. Let's see what the other guys start setting. Seb goes a 28.0, so he's actually a 10th quicker so far. So difficult to say which tire is the right one to be on. Fastest now goes to Shkone, who's on a 28.4. As Prezemu's middle sector is a 31.3. So let's see what Seb does with that. And Zab on the inters goes on a 28 flat. So it does seem like the inters are the right tire already. Someone's off the track there. So Prezemu comes up to the line, sets a 129 flat. Let's join Seb as he's coming up towards the end of the lap here, as there's another Mercedes who's all over the place by the looks of it. So Seb goes a second and a half quicker than Prezemu. So it's definitely time for inters. Let's join Zab, who's also on the inters, as Wicked Prophet and Almighty drop a fair bit behind, as does Gone, who did set the fastest first sector, and they're all on wets. So Zab goes second, so the two inters are the quickest, quite comfortably. So the next inter car is Slimmy, so let's see how he can do. He's just started his lap, and he's struggling in Sector 1. Saeed's on an outlap on the wets. That's definitely the wrong choice to make. I'd be coming straight back in the pits if I was him. So Slimmy's approaching perhaps a back marker, or perhaps it's just the speed difference in the wets and the inters. I can't really tell. No one else is on the outlap, so it could be an in lap, or it could be someone just doing multiple laps. Roller Ruler sets a time that's only 7th quickest as well, which is a bit of a surprise, as Prezemu's second lap is a lot better. He jumps into P2 as we stay on board with Slimmy. Slimmy sets the quickest middle sector of anyone there, and promptly almost puts it into the wall. Okay, so let's see. Bang average Seb goes into the pits. Let's see. What's Saeed doing? He's on his lap now. He's got that corner all wrong. That's not going to be a quick lap. Let's join Nova. He's on his second lap here. So he must have made a bit of mistake on the first lap and didn't set a representative time. No, Reaper, the font couldn't... He tried to join the lobby and it just wouldn't let him. He tried about 10 times, so it's just me today. Oh, I'm not sure if he's really revving the car like that. I think that might be a glitch in the stream. But like I said, Nova is definitely one of the fastest in the league, if not the fastest over one lap, so I'm expecting big things for him in this qualifying session. He just manages to avoid invalidating there, because he was 4 tyres on the curbs. But he does set the fast lap, and it's on wet, so maybe it's not quite time for inters. But as I said, it's due to only be light rain after about 10 minutes of the session, which is 5 minutes away. I'd be out on the inters trying to get used to them if I were these guys. Because these laps, a 27.1 is not going to be the pole time. I can guarantee you that. Looks like Nova is going on another lap as well. And he spins. Pushes too hard. He did go purple in that first sector as well. So is that Roller Ruler trying another lap? So he did set a really slow first lap, and he's just kept going. He has no ERS left, but he's probably still trying to find the limits of this track and trying to find a little bit of extra lap time. Let's see. I think Joker Psycho's on a lap on the inters. So Joker comes up from tier 5. So his first sector is a 27.6. That's incredibly quick. So I think this goes to show you what is happening with the weather, because I wouldn't expect him to go purple in the first sector. Ooh, just misses out invalidating there. And he goes purple in the middle sector as well. This should be a warning to anybody paying attention that they need to be on the inters right now and for the rest of the session. Yes, I've got the telemetry up. I didn't get a notification, but I just logged in. It's working fine. And Joker, I'm expecting him to go in P1. He goes 3rd. So Hallinan actually sets the fastest lap, which I completely missed. So that's a really impressive time. Like I said, Hallinan was definitely one of the quickest guys in Tier 5. Probably the quickest who's come up from Tier 5 that is racing right now. So expected a big result for him. And so far he's delivering. He actually had a really good performance in the Race of Champions as well. Him and Wicked Prophet had top 10 results. So let's see what Chris T is doing, because I said that he should be... so he's 7/10 down so far. I said he should be challenging for a pole position, but I'm not sure what his wet weather pace is like. But one thing you definitely don't want to do in Imola is start low down, because the run up to turn 1, well, the whole first sector on the first lap is really treacherous. So what can he do? He's a bit late getting on the throttle and the exit there. He's a second down. I don't know if that's on his time. I think he's up on his own time. He's a second down on Hallinan's time, who sets another fastest lap. So he's on fire right now, Hallinan. But again, I still think times are going to keep improving, so I don't think it's 26.1, even though it's 7/10 quicker than Joker, who's just moved up into second, is going to be the pole time. Maybe 2 or 3 more seconds will get shaved off there. So Chris T, what's he going to improve to? No, he doesn't improve at all. He's half a second down on his best time, unfortunately. Let's join Wicked Prophet. Like, he's just approaching the finish line now. And he goes up to P2. Amazing result. What about Scone? He's just starting his lap. Daniel Gonzalez. Also just... Oh no, he just didn't improve, unfortunately. Almighty, the only newbie today, goes into P5. Not bad for your first race in the league. What about Zab? Zab goes up into P3. Good lap from Zab. So as you can see, times are tumbling. We've got 4 drivers in the 26s now. One's in the 26.1, which is really impressive from Hallinan. And that is the kind of benchmark that Nova's got that he's got to go out and try and beat now. And the same for Seb, who set his lap really early on and has been in the pits for quite a while as well. Excuse me. Slimmy Cam is on a lap and he's invalidated. So he'll just be starting his lap now. Let's stay on board with him for a little while. He's the only driver not to have set a competitive lap that hasn't retired straight away. Oh, we've got a Chris T fan. Well, he's in 7th right now on a 3-lap old inters. He needs to come in and put on fresh inters for the end of the session. So Joker goes back up into P3 as well. So he's really been in the top 5 for the last 5 or 6 minutes, setting lap after lap and improving each time. And Slimmy's gonna not invalidate actually, but is he going to be setting a fast timer? I don't know. The telemetry's glitching for him. There's a Mercedes who doesn't have his telemetry set up. That's One Eye, and there's a Red Bull. Will. Reaper, if you're listening, could you do me a favor and DM Will the Game and One-Eyed Falcon and tell them they need to sort out the telemetry settings? Everyone else is good. So, as we approach the final 2 corners for Slimmy, takes the curb. He's brave. He is taking the curb. Nearly invalidates there, but manages not to. Avoids the banana curbs on the inside of that final corner as we approach the start-finish line. And he goes first. That didn't look like a very quick lap, but he's a 1.5 seconds quicker than everyone else, who just seems to be on outlaps at the moment. And Roller Ruler goes into P2 behind him. Saeed in P3 behind him. And the lap times are tumbling now. Reaper, they haven't switched their telemetry on their telemetry settings. So Hallinan's still in pits. Profit's coming in the pits. Nova responds very well, and he's the first person into the 24s, just as I expected. He'll probably, if I was him, I would use this lap and turn off ERS, which it looks like it's off because it's oh no, it looks like it's still on actually. I'd recharge and then do another push lap after this. Will and One-Eyed Falcon. Oh, there's one more. Who's 16th? One-Eyed Falcon, Will, and Daniel Gonzalez. So, should we follow? Why is it saying Slimmy's on fresh tyres when he's not? He's just set a lap. A bit strange. But he's coming into the pits. I don't know if he'll have time to come in and go back out. But if he doesn't, then I don't think he'll finish in the top 10 with the way that these lap times are tumbling. Let's join Prezemu. Oh, just in time to see a spin. And there's an Alpha just behind him spinning. Oh, that's Almighty and Prezemu have perhaps ruined their laps, and there's other cars that are going to have to avoid them. One-Eyed Falcon also span in the exact same place. So, is going on a lap? He's in P5 right now. We have Will the Game about to start his lap. Shkone's not on a fast lap. Let's join Will the Game. He should not be in P15. He's far too good for that. So I'm guessing his first lap wasn't very representative for the first runs. But look how dry the track is right now. There's the dry line. So we have Nova, Slimmy, Roller Ruler Side, and Seb are our current top 5. Yeah, it takes a lot of speed through those corners, which we didn't see at the beginning of this session. And there's yellow flags in Sector 3 for an Alpha, by the looks of it. So Will's first sector was... Oh, it's not showing on the telemetry. Let's see what his second sector comes up as. How many? So he's 2.2 seconds quicker. So that would put him rate 726 in the into the 25s. But he's going to improve even more in this final sector as long as this car in front of him doesn't give him too much trouble. No, it doesn't look like it. He's too far ahead, which is nice. Might give him a little bit of slipstream up to the line, the Alpine. And Will goes up into P3 and he's got 40% ERS to do one more lap. Let's join Nova, who is still trying. Well, he's just started his final lap. So let's see what he can do as there's cars all over the place. If he... Oh, that's his attempt over. Let's have a look at Seb. Oh no, he's not got any ERS. Schkoen is coming up to the start-finish line. It looks like he's going to improve. He goes into P2. What about Zab? Zab was a lot higher than that. He was third last time I saw his name, and now he's dropped all the way down at 13th. As Joker has gone up into second. That's an amazing lap. But I think it's just going to be a situation of whoever's the last over the line to start their lap will end up on pole, because you can hardly even see any rain on the screen now. So Zab's got 2 more corners. Taking a lot of the curb. Being a bit careful on the exit there. Avoiding the banana bumps. And he goes from 13th up into second. So he couldn't knock Nova off the top spot, who's got a 9/10 of a second lead, which is quite ominous for the rest of the season if that's the kind of pace he's going to be showing. Let's see, who else could be troubling him? Hallinan. Let's join Hallinan because he was super quick earlier and had quite a commanding pole time. Nova's not going to improve. He's already crossed the finish line, so every other driver has a chance to beat him with slightly better weather. Schkoen will end up about a second behind him. It didn't look like he improved on his final time. Wicked, Almighty, and Daniel all couldn't improve either, which is quite a surprise considering the track evolution here. Seb has ended up pitting, so he's going to start probably a lot lower than 10th, to be honest. Or maybe 3 places lower. So we've got Prezemu, who managed to overtake Will the Game to nab P6 for now. Slimmy's retired. What can Hallinan do? Saeed couldn't improve. Hallinan goes P5. What can Roller Roller do? P2. Zab, can he try and get pole position? Oh, he gets second. And the only person left was Will the Game, who managed to get second as well. We just missed him. So that's qualifying done. We have Nova with the pole position. It wasn't by 9/10 in the end. It was about 7/10, which is still pretty convincing, but this is a wet qualifying session. We don't know what people's setup priorities were, but that is a very, very, very impressive pole position by Nova, and it'll be interesting to see what he could do, because he had pole positions in Tier 3 last season, and he made quite a lot of mistakes in the races, which is why his results didn't reflect his qualifying results. So we'll see what he can do in the race. But yeah, Nova's got pole position, the man from Oman. Will the Game in P2, pretty impressive. So we've got a Tier 3, 1, 2, 3, with Zab rounding out the top 3. Roller Ruler, who was in Tier 2 last season, is 4th. Joker's the best of the Tier 5 guys who's come up, followed by Schkoen. Hallinan, who was a second behind. Chris T could only manage 8th. Slimmy 9th. Prezemu 10th. Saeed only 11th. Seb only 12th, which is a real big surprise. Prophet 13th. Almighty on his debut got P14. One-Eyed Falcon 15th. And Daniel 16th, with the drivers Akasim, CT, and Dove all failing to set a time. So we've got a dry race coming up, so everyone will have completely fresh tyres. A little bit of a change this time round as well, excuse me, is that there are an extra set of mediums and hards available to use. So it's going to give a much better variation of strategy, especially in our 50% races where we always have, well, at least a couple of safety cars. Especially in a track like Imola, there's walls everywhere, so safety cars, even though they're on reduced, are quite likely on this track, especially with 19 drivers taking the grid. So it'll be interesting to see what these guys come up with. As I'll just refresh my telemetry to try and see what tyres people are going to pick. So that was really, really convincing from Nova. Kind of shades of Yusuf from last season, who was just so dominant in qualifying. So it'll be interesting to see if Nova can kind of copy his race pace as well, because that's what he struggled with more than anything last season. Especially with the safety car restarts. So let me just set up my telemetry. So we'll keep on broadcast, gap interval, detail, tyres. Everyone's on mediums apart from Saeed, Akasim, and Dudu Man. Oh, so we've got 20 people. He must have joined last minute. So Dudu Man was in tier 5. He was a brief title challenger, but kind of faded towards the last couple of races of the season. So expect to see him kind of charge through. I'd say he's a good contender for points, to be honest. So we don't really need to keep the tyres on. Let's have the position change for the start of the race. Keep the telemetry on. Well, we don't need the telemetry. Or do we? Yeah, I like to see ERS. And we'll keep the full track map. So, got Nova in pole position in the McLaren. So let's see, who's got, out of the constructors, 2 cars in the top 10. So Nova and Prezemu have started pretty well for McLaren. Will is in the Red Bull. Where's the other Red Bull? Is in last place. That's Dudu Man. Zab, is Hallinan also in the Alpine? No, that's a Williams. It's difficult to tell the difference. Zab's teammate is Matt, actually. So they're never going to have 2 cars in the top 10 at the start. And probably not at the end either. Roller Ruler is P4 and his teammate's in P19. Joker is in the Williams. Is Hallinan a Williams as well? Yeah, so we got 2 Williamses starting in the top 10. 1 Alfa Romeo, 1 Alfa Tauri, and 1, is that the Haas? It is. Slimmy's in the Haas. So actually, it's Ferrari who've underperformed. They've not got a single car in the top 10. And the same with Mercedes. Alright, let's go back to the front. So this is a really long run up to turn 1, and slipstream actually does have an impact, as well as obviously drivers choosing to utilize the ERS. So Zab misses his grid slot, so he gets disqualified from the session, which is not good on a track with a very long run down to turn 1. Same for Slimmy. Wicked. Prezemu. I think everyone else is going to do it. Oh, Dove as well. So a quarter of the grid have missed their grid slots. It's not too bad. As we have a terrible angle for the start of the race. So let's see what they can get. Oh, come on. Change this angle. Here we go. So Will has overtaken Nova already off the line. Very comfortably into turn 1. As everyone is taking it quite gingerly. No one's in the gravel. Looks like Chris T's had a bit of an off. Let's have a look. Yeah, you can't even see him. He's that far into the gravel. So Will is going to get chased down here up into this car. Oh, there's a... Schone has span into the gravel as well. So he's going to drop all the way to the back. And Will manages to keep his position there after coming under challenge. And Zab is pretty close behind Nova now, as the top 3 have established a little bit of a gap ahead of Joker. Top 3 obviously were tier 3 drivers. Joker was tier 5, so he will probably come under pressure from Roller here. And Slimmy's all over the back of Roller as well, as the top 2 building a slight gap ahead of Zab. Ooh, Slimmy tries a bit of a dive bomb, and Roller has to take avoiding action and loses position to Hallinan. But it looks like there was no contact and no damage. And Hallinan's challenging Slimmy now, and gets the move done. And is Roller going to try and get a move as well? These guys are going to be really close all the way down, as the two Ferraris are right behind them as well. I wonder if there's going to be team orders with the Ferraris, or if they're not in a party together. So, Slimmy's having a look. Doesn't do anything. Oh, Nova's span. See, this is what I was saying. Super, super fast, and now he's not even in the points after a lap. But let's rejoin Hallinan and Slimmy battle. Excuse me. Slimmy's feeling really confident to get very close to the back of Hallinan here. Very impressive start from Joker, I've got to say. I wasn't expecting him to be in the top 3. But it looks like Slimmy's got a lot more pace than Hallinan currently. But he did make that mistake. Will's established a bit of a lead at the front as well. He's out of DRS zone from Zab, whilst Joker's managed to claw his way back into DRS. As Akasim looks like he's had a spin as well, but everyone's still in the race, so it's quite impressive. And it doesn't look like anyone pitted at the end of the first lap. So, will Slimmy do something here? We don't have DRS just yet. That detection zone came a bit too early. Slimmy Cam did set the fastest lap and did get the move done on Hallinan. Is Hallinan going to have a look on the inside? Backs out of it. Let's join Joker and Zab momentarily. Well, actually, he was pretty close, but he's just dropped to almost a second behind. What's going on with the Ferraris? So, Roller Ruler's got a bit of a train behind him with Saeed and Wicked and Almighty all within DRS. As One-Eyed Falcon is dropped to the back, and Daniel and Shkone look like they're having a little battle. But let's stick with this one because it's in the top 10. Lovely view from aerial view here. Let's see if anyone's got any penalties, any warnings yet. Roller's got 1 warning. Nova's already got 2. Oh, it's not going well for Nova. But I would say, despite what's happening here, he's got the pace to challenge. Oh, he's already got a 3-second penalty. He's got the pace to challenge for a championship, but he's got to learn a little bit of composure. Because obviously he didn't have everything go his way, and he kind of lost it himself, and now he's obviously cutting corners a little bit. Slimmy set the fastest lap for a 2nd time. So he's really making good progress here. Saeed, is he going to get close enough before the turn? It looks like Roller's already out of ERS, excuse me. So is he going to have a look? No. It's all over the back of him though. As Zab has managed to get into DRS detection range of Will at the front. So we'll just keep an eye on that as well. Saeed's just not able to get close enough to actually challenge it, and he goes very wide there. That'll have been a warning. But he's managed not to lose any time despite that. Oh, he goes very sideways on the exit of... I can't remember what the name of that corner is. I should have had a look at the track maps. What's happening with Prezemu? It looks like team orders. He's let Nova back past, which is a very good idea because Nova has a lot more pace, to be honest. And what's happening here? Seb's lost a position to Dove, so he's fallen a couple of positions. Let's have a quick look at tyres, because these are going to come in to play in the next few laps as well. So Slimmy again sets the fastest lap. So let's rejoin Slimmy because... Oh, actually, let's rejoin Saeed. It looks like he's finally going to get the move done. He's ran out of ERS, though, in the process. Meanwhile, Almighty behind is in the top 10 on his debut, but Wicked is being held off at the moment. So, let's have a look at what Slimmy can do. He was within a second, and he's just gone back within a second of Joker, who is himself really close to Zab, and we are starting to get a DRS trade behind the leader, Will, down to P5, kind of in and out. Some people are quite on the bubble of whether they'd get DRS or not. So we'll start seeing some moves pretty soon. Joker goes very wide there, and he's basically gifted that position to Slimmy, who's having a fantastic charge through the field in these opening laps. Now he's already into a podium position, and Joker gets penalty. It looks like Slimmy went a little bit wide there as well. The penalty's going to start rolling in soon. Slimmy might not get DRS here. Let's have a look, because he's in and out of that 1 second. And if he doesn't, this might be a good chance for Joker. Although Joker looks like he's going to get challenged from Hallinan now. Yeah, he's not got any charge left. And Hallinan, well, he doesn't have much, but he's got enough to get the move comfortably done here. They are teammates as well, so I think Joker maybe recognised that, let him through, so that Hallinan can try and make a bit more progress up the field. Oh, Slimmy! Whoa! Completely went off all on his own, and this is the story of Slimmy's kind of journey in ALR, in Formula 1. He impresses, and then he's got a bit of a train behind him now who will have to be quite patient to get past him, because he's not, doesn't look like he's getting out of the way. And one of them his teammate? No, it's an Alpha. Yes, he was lucky. I can't believe he didn't retire, to be honest. But he must have hit the wall straight on so that it only took his wing. I don't know why he's racing these guys. It's pretty poor form, I'd say. He should have just got out the way, because obviously you can't fight these guys off. But now, oh, almighty span, because you can't really go too wide into that corner. Yeah, well, at least, maybe not pulled over, but at least just drive off the line so that they can just get past you, because you're not going to lose any time going back to the pits doing that. But anyway, let's rejoin the front. So we got Hallinan, who's chasing down Zab, who's still floating in and out of a second behind Will the Game. So we've got a nice little battle at the front, and it's definitely going to go down to the wire, I think. 3 drivers all driving blue cars, but for different teams. They really need to sort out these colours on the side. It's not helpful. And Roller Ruler's pretty close to Saeed still, so Saeed managed to get past him on those hard tyres. Hasn't been able to pull a gap. Hallinan's very close to Zab now. Zab must have made a mistake because he dropped over a second behind Will. Slimmy's rejoined back in 19th, by the way. So him and Seb, I think, are the only ones who have made pit stops, and everyone else, yeah, that's true. Everyone else is still on their original tyre. And there hasn't been a safety car, and there hasn't been a retirement after 7 laps. Very impressive stuff from these guys. Considering they're meant to be the lowest tier in ALR, they are still driving to a very high standard. Hallinan has no ERS, but he does have DRS. Is he going to get a move done on Zab here? Zab didn't try to defend the inside, and the move has been done. So Hallinan's made fantastic progress in the race. He started in 7th, and now he is 2nd. And can he chase down Will? He seems to have all the pace compared to these guys. I can't remember if Hallinan beat Will in the Race of Champions. They were racing against each other. They were definitely close together. They both finished, I think. No, Hallinan did beat Will, because I was racing with Hallinan at the end until I ran out of fuel. So if that's anything to go by, which it kind of isn't, because it's just a one-off exhibition race. But if it's anything to go by, Hallinan had more pace there. So I'd expect him to catch Will fairly quickly. But he only has 11% ERS, and Will doesn't have that much ERS either. So he won't have anything to defend from Hallinan if he does get to within a second. Looks like Nova's managed to make some progress. He's back into 7th now. He's not too far off the lead, actually. But let's keep with these leaders because... Well, actually, Will's managed to pull a bit of a gap there. So he's now 1.4 seconds ahead. A little bit of breathing space, which he'll be very glad for. Meanwhile, Zab is managing to keep up with these guys because he is enjoying DRS off the back of Hallinan, which would be good for him because look how much charge he's managed to save because he doesn't need to use any of it as long as he stays within a second. So he might be able to overtake Hallinan again if Hallinan can't close down Will. Joker isn't that far behind as well, with Saeed the highest hard tyre runner on a bit of an alternate strategy there. As we got CT falling behind Akasim. Some nice little gaps are starting to open up, and some of these guys will be kind of treating this at the moment a bit like a time trial because there's no one that they can challenge and there's no one that is challenging them, so they've only got themselves to blame if they make a mistake. As Daniel is the third driver to get a 3-second penalty. Let's see if anyone else... Dove is very close. He's one warning away from getting a penalty as well. And then no one else is that close to getting a penalty. Oh, Wicked is also one warning away from getting a penalty. So Hallinan is going to get... oh, no, he doesn't. I was going to say he's going to get DRS, but he must have just been above a second. And it looks like Zab's falling a little bit behind now. He needs to start using his ERS to close the gap in. As there's a yellow flag somewhere, it is one of the Haas's. It's Akasim by the looks of things. Oh, Chris T actually. There is a big train back here. Let's have a quick look. Because it looks like there could be some... Not really. They are all pretty close together, but no one's making a challenge. You can see the red light flashing on Will's car. That means he's out of ERS. So Hallinan just has to be patient here. Because he'll be thinking about pushing very hard, but you know what happens when you push very hard? You quite often end up spinning. In his second season in ALR is Hallinan. Started the season in... Tier 5 and had a very dodgy race, but he's come a long way since then, and yeah, he's actually probably one of the more consistent and, you know, fairer drivers in the league now. So it goes to show what a bit of hard work can do, as he's trying to line up a move. The inside is defended by Will, and he just can't get the move done that time around. But they are pulling a nice big gap to Zab, so it looks like when the pit stop window comes around, if it's not during the safety car, they should have enough to carry on this battle. There's a yellow flag for One-Eyed Falcon, who's really struggling today. So is Seb. But Hallinan's only 3/10 behind, so let's keep an eye on this. Mercedes in the mud. So Hallinan could get the move done if he can kind of get to within half a second by the end of this lap. But he goes really wide on that corner, which puts him 7/10, 8/10 behind now, and it gives Will the breathing room that, you know, he's just not gonna get challenged this time around, and it actually allows Zab to get under 2 seconds as well. Those two corners at the end of the lap are probably the most important to hit the apex on, because it sets you up for the very, very long straight. And if you miss them and you get a bad exit onto that straight, you can lose like up to a second. And Hallinan was lucky that he had DRS, because otherwise Will would have just pulled away there. So he saving a little bit of ERS, which is the right thing to do. One-Eyed Falcon gets a 3-second penalty, just to add insult to injury. And it looks like he's about to get lapped as well. Joker gets his second 3-second penalty. as we got the yellow flags out in Sector 2. But let's stick with these guys, because we're about to see. He's still 8/10ths back, though. That's the problem. Oh, he's up to 6/10ths. Okay, the challenge could be on here. Using all of his ERS. He's got DRS. Will's completely out of ERS. He's defending on the inside. Hallidon's going to try and take it the outside. And he goes really wide. And Will's going to try and get the cut back. They're still side by side. Will's still... that very impressive. Will's won that little battle and keeps the lead for the time being. That was really good side-by-side racing from those two. I thought it was all going to end badly because it so often does around that corner. Well, the whole first sector is kind of treacherous if you try to overtake somebody. But Hallidon would have got the move done if he'd have braked in time, excuse me, because he went wide and had a compromised exit to turn 2. Will could just do the switchback. And he had like 10% more ERS as well to help himself get the move done, which he's not going to have this time round. So he needs to, as we've got a spinning one-eyed falcon. Well, that makes lapping him pretty easy. But it does mean that Will won't benefit from his DRS if he was still in front at the end of the lap. So Hallidon had a fairly okay exit, but look, he's losing ground. He's using his ERS, which I don't think he should be doing. He should be saving it until next time, but he's used all of it. So what's happening here? Zab has come into the pits, so he's the first medium runner to come into the pits. So let's follow him whilst Hallidon and Will go around the parts of the lap that you can't really overtake on. Let's see where Zab comes out. So, just a reminder, the tyres are pretty cold when you come out, especially the hard ones. They take a lap or two to warm up. So, he's not going to be instantly fast. And if he comes out around a medium tyre runner, he's going to probably get overtaken. But it looks like he's got some clear air, as One-Eye Falcon has retired. And Daniel Gonzalez has also retired from the session. And we've got a safety car. So, Zab pits at the wrong time. Excuse me. So this is going to completely change the outlook of the whole race. This is perfect for the medium and the hard runners. Probably even better for the people who are on hards now, because mediums can definitely last until the end of the race on, what is it going to be? 18 laps? 18 laps. That's 4 laps longer than what these current medium guys are on. So they could get it done, considering that at least 2 of those will be under... The first 2 will be under safety car. If anyone doesn't pit now, then I think they've made a big mistake. Seb's gone on to soft tyres. Okay. So Will, yep, they both managed to get good pit stops. They hit their pit markers. And it's as you were. Every single person's in the pits. Dove's going to come in. What about Zab? Zab's obviously keeping going. So he was 3rd. So let's see where he comes out, because... let's see. Is he going to manage to... he's going so fast to try and get them. He does keep hold of 3rd place. So he's very, very lucky, because look how close that was behind Saeed and Joker and Nova. And I think Saeed actually jumped Joker there. Slimmy also chose not to pit, and he's going to try and go to the end on these hards that are already 8 laps old. Wicked has retired. I don't know what happened to him there. What the? He span. Did he spin coming out of the pits? No, he didn't pit. He just span all on his own. He must have been warming his tyres. He Roman Grosjean'd himself. That's a shame. That is a big shame. Also very embarrassing for him. It's a shame we didn't get it on stream. So let's have a quick rundown of the top 10. So Will has kept the lead, just as a bit of a reminder. He started in 2nd. Hallinan started in 7th and made fantastic progress. No, he didn't retire in the pits. You could see his crashed car on the exit. Hallinan started in 7th, and no, Wicked didn't cause the safety car. That's why he's still showing us in 17th. Daniel Gonzalez and One-Eye Falcon caused the safety car. But yeah, Hallinan started in 7th and made great progress, overtook all the drivers with really clean moves to go up into 2nd. Zab started in 3rd and has remained 3rd. Saeed, who was the only driver in the top, I don't know, well, he started 11th, but he was the highest hard shod tyre car to start with. I don't know what I'm talking about. And he's managed to get up into 4th, just through some solid driving and avoiding mistakes. Joker's dropped to 5th after running in the podium positions for a little time, but he did start in 5th. Nova, who span all on his own on lap 2, has managed to get back up at a P6. Some of that was on track overtakes, some of it is through other drivers' mistakes. Roller Ruler is in 7th after starting in 4th, so he's dropped back a little bit. Struggled to keep the pace, but he did have a little bit of an incident with, I can't remember who it was, I think it might have been Slimmy, which made him lose a couple of positions. Slimmy is 8th after his absolute annihilation of his front wing. So he started 9th, got all the way up into the podium positions, and now he's managed to find himself up into 8th again. Almighty remains in the top 10 on his debut. He did start in 14th and quickly got up to the top 10. And Pizemu, who started 10th, is 10th still. Always quite solidly in this position. Every time I commentate him, he's just like one of those, like one of those reliable constants. You can trust Pizemu to be like 8th, 9th, or 10th. Maybe 7th. Very rarely 6th. Never higher. The last two. Yes, I think the last two caused a safety car. Daniel and One-Eye Falcon. Which is a bit weird because One-Eye Falcon was already a lap down, but they both retired at the same time. So I don't know if they came together or if they had separate accidents. I couldn't see. So let's see. Are we going to get the safety car in this lap? Probably not, because look how far behind Sev is. So he went on soft tyres, and now he's pitted for mediums. Mediums, I would prefer to be on for the rest of the race. You'll be able to get past the hard tyres pretty quickly. So Duduman, Akasim, and Seb, I would expect to make pretty quick progress. Duduman, just as a reminder, started 20th, so he's managed to kind of win the war of attrition so far. He's still in the race. Matt has a pen. Let's have a look. Yeah, he has a 3-second penalty, Reaper. But I'd say for over halfway through the race, to still have 17 of the 20 drivers racing is pretty interesting. It's pretty good, as we've got Matt is in the pits again because he wants to finish on the mediums. Another good shout. So let's see. Will the game, Hallinan, and Zab. This has to be the last safety car. I don't know if Matt's going to catch up to the back of them by the time they restart. Probably. The fastest lap currently belongs to Nova as well. So our pole sitter is the fastest driver on track. And he's got a great opportunity now because he's not got any time between him and first place. So if he could just keep his car on the road, do some clean overtakes, then he's got a great chance of winning now. But the top three, I would say, have been incredibly impressive. Let's have a look what's happening here. Safety car in this lap. There we go. So Will's going to control this. Is he going to try and do a quick slingshot out of the final corner? Or is he going to crawl up to the start line? He's really backing the pack up here. And it looks like he's gone. Looks like he's caught Hallinan napping a little bit there. And Saeed looks like he's breathing down Zab's neck here. So let's see if he can get the move done. Both of them are using all of their ERS to try and keep position. So Saeed is on the mediums as well, but he backs out. And it looks like it's pretty much as you were going through the first sector. As Slimmy's looking to get a move done on Roller Ruler, but he thinks better of it. back at the front. Hallinan, well, Zab's still fending off Saeed, who's really twitchy. Sometimes it looks like he's hitting a keyboard, and that's how he's playing. But I think he's a pad user. But he is very close to Zab here, probably closer than anyone else on the grid right now. Nova's already up into 6th as well. Let's see what he's up to. He's very close behind Joker. Definitely has the pace to get it done. As it looks like Psemu's been in an incident. He was in 10th and now he's dropped all the way to the back. So can Nova get the move done here as Joker gets another 3-second penalty. So he's going to get 9 seconds added to the end of his race, and he's probably guaranteed not to get a point, as we've got Saeed making a move on Zab now. And just behind, is Zab going to get... Oh, no, he doesn't. And Nova doesn't try a move on Joker this time around. We've also got Hallinan incredibly close to Will there. So I don't know what happened to Will, because he had over half a second lead. Oh, no. He thought about doing a cheeky little dive bomb, but thought better of it, which is definitely a good idea. I don't think he'd have pulled that off at all. But this next lap is where I think the overtake is going to happen. So we've got DRS activated again now. And Hallinan is incredibly close to Will here. And Saeed's caught right up to the back of them as well on his medium tyres. What Saeed needs to do is pretty much get into first place and pull a bit of a gap. And then just manage his tyres to the end. Because these hard guys will come for him at the end. So if he doesn't make the progress that he needs to, he'll lose that podium position as Dove gets a 3-second penalty. So Hallinan is close enough. Is he going to... Oh, DRS is only enabled this lap. Saeed, is he going to get a move done here? He's very, very close to Hallinan. Ooh, he dives around the inside, gets it done. Hallinan kind of doesn't put up much of a fight there. And now Saeed can chase down Will in first. So I didn't see this coming, to be honest. I didn't see Saeed challenging for the win. But we still got 12 laps to go. 12 laps on a tyre that's currently advantageous over everybody else, but won't be at the end, as all the other medium tyre runners aren't in the top 11. So he's very unique in that. So he's managed to... to be fair to him, he had a very good stint on the hards. He managed to avoid any accidents. He managed to even get an overtake done on a medium tire runner. He just didn't have the pace in the wet to qualify at the front. So can he, with DRS, ERS, overtake Will this time around? Well, he's used all of his ERS already. Will's got more to defend with. Don't think he really needs to this time around. As we see Doodoo Man taking a bit, well, overtaking Chris T. Chris T's been really disappointed this race. I expected a lot more from him than to be languishing outside of the points. As we've got Nova again spinning. I don't know if that was on his own or what, but he's out of the points again. He's going to get challenged by Chris T now. He's still languishing in Sector 1 here when the other guys are much further down the track. So it looks like it's going to be no points for Nova as it stands, especially with his 3-second penalty to add on top of that. But let's rejoin Saeed, who is still just about 3/10 behind, and Hallinan's incredibly close as well. You're disappointed. Disappointed in your mate having a crap race. Well, he could still get points out of this. He has no penalties, so you can put him in 10th right now. Actually 9th, because Joker has 9 seconds of penalties. So this should be the time when Saeed takes the lead of the race. He's within 4 seconds. 4/10 of a second, I should say. No, he still doesn't get the move done. Will has, to be fair to Will, he's defended his lead incredibly well so far this race. He definitely, well, so far, unless he makes a big mistake, I'd say he's definitely my driver of the day. It's so difficult to defend from the front when you've got this kind of pressure. I don't think I've jinxed anyone so far this race, actually. I'll just keep my mouth shut. Maybe I'll try and jinx the people that I don't want to do well. So, can Saeed do it this time round? He's got no ERS at all. There's no point even kind of like pressing it when you've got 3% left. Will also has absolutely no ERS left either. And every lap that goes by, the pendulum swings a little bit more into Will's favour, because every lap that goes by, Saeed's medium tyres will be going off at a faster rate than Will's hard tyres. So Saeed, to be fair, I'd be sweating a little bit if I was Saeed right now and I still hadn't got the overtake done. But he needs to stop using his ERS, as we've got a yellow flag for, not CT, is it Akasim off the track? You can't even see him. There he is. Hey. Right, let's join the front again. Something interesting. The 3 retired drivers are all from Tier 5. Oh, Will doesn't really get a good exit there. Saeed, no, he hasn't. He sticks a nose in, but he can't do anything. Zab's actually not too far behind either, if you see there. He's only 1.6 behind these guys now, as they're going to start fighting a little bit more, and it might become a 4-way fight for the win. And Hallinan and Zab are both 1 warning away from getting a penalty. Saeed's only got 1 warning, and Will has no warnings at all. So he's been pretty flawless here. But he might come under pressure now. Is he going to defend the inside? Yeah, he defends really well there. Saeed kind of committed to the inside, and Will kept veering to the left, which meant that Saeed had nowhere to go and had to back out of it a bit. All very fair. Firm but fair racing there. We've got Joker Psycho really close on Slimmy here as well. Quite a train behind Slimmy, actually, who was... Well, actually, the reason for that is because his tyres are 17 laps old. So he's going to be struggling here. Almighty was pretty close, but backed out of it a little bit. But let's rejoin the front, because Saeed is all over the back of Will. But he gets a bit out of shape on the exit of that corner. He needs to stop using his ERS in places that he doesn't need to. If he just saved his ERS over 1 lap, he'd have enough to overtake Will for the lead. But he uses it to get down to 0 every single corner. Slimmy does set the fastest lap on his 17-lap-old hard tyres. Curious. And he overtakes Zab there to get back into P4. Nova gets the fastest lap now, down in 12th. So you only get the point for the fastest lap if you finish in the top 10. So he has a few more... Well, he has a bit of work to do. But we've got 7 laps to go, and we are nowhere near in a position where we can comfortably say what the outcome of this race is going to be. We've got 3 drivers within half a second fighting for the win, who could come together at any moment. Saeed's looking a little bit twitchy now, as we've got Almighty, looks like he's made a mistake. Yeah. So that's his charge. He had a good race up to that. Oh. If he doesn't sort this out soon. He'll he'll be bringing out the safety car again. There we go. Right, let's rejoin the front. Zab gets a 3-second penalty, so his podium chances are pretty much over. It looks like the podium will be between Saeed, Slimmy, and Will in one order or another, but that's providing they don't take each other out. Hanan is in a great position, yeah. Really impressive for the Tier 5 guy, because to be battling with the Tier 3 drivers from last season. Pretty decent Tier 3 drivers as well. They were always competing in the points. Hanan is really close to Saeed now, so it makes me wonder if Saeed's tyres are starting to go off and he's going to have a bit of a rough last 6 laps here. Yeah, they're definitely not going to be performing at peak condition now, whereas the hards probably are very close to that. Slimmy's going to start closing the gap as well if he's setting fastest laps. He's already pulled 1.5 seconds ahead of Zab, who he only just overtook the lap previous. I've got to say, this is a really enjoyable race to watch for the first race of the season. There's no driver that is clearly dominant here. There's multiple drivers that could still win, which really bodes well for the rest of the season and the championship. Yeah, see, it looked like Saeed was sliding again on the exit of that penultimate corner. So it means he's not really got a chance, and he's going to get challenged here by Hallinan, who's closing the gap really quickly. He's completely out of VRS, but the corner comes like maybe 50 meters too soon. If there was 50 more meters, Hallinan would have been comfortably ahead. And now they are looking to lap Almighty here. Ooh, Saeed, don't be pushing him around the corner. Didn't look like there was any contact, but it was very close. So Slimmy's almost within DRS range of Hallinan now as well. So he could have a say in the outcome. Probably won't get the win because he has 3 seconds, a 3-second penalty. But he could get in the mix. And he'll want to, because Roller Ruler behind him, he could finish behind. So Schone also gets a 3-second penalty, who has had a bit of a disappointing race, in my opinion. He has raced towards the front of Tier 3 last season, which had faster drivers in it on paper than this current grid has. So I expected a little bit better. Hallinan, well, Saeed's really close to Hallinan here. He could get the job done. And sorry, to Will, not Hallinan. I'm getting confused because they both drive blue cars. So he's going around the outside. Will does defend the inside again, and ooh, it looks like Saeed managed to get the move done. It definitely wasn't clean. And Will is having a look on the inside. So what's going to happen now? Oh, Will goes wide again, and now Hallinan's going around the outside. Is he going to get the move done? No, what's happening? They come together. Oh, no. So I know exactly what happened there. Hallinan held the outside of that corner when he didn't really have a right to do so. So Will closed the door on the exit because why wouldn't you? Because you're almost a full car length ahead and you've got the inside line. So they just come together and it looks like the tires touched. And when your tires touch, that exact thing happens. You just like both veer off track a little bit until you become untangled. So what that does now is it means that Slimmycam is now within DRS range of Saeed with a lot of VRS. So he has a good chance of getting the move done on Saeed in a lap or two and trying to build a 3-second gap. And all of a sudden, Slimmycam could be the winner of this race with his 22-lap-old hards, but he has all the pace. And to be fair, maybe they're in better condition than Saeed's tires. Let me just get my telemetry app open again. It's gone off. Ah, it's all kicking off now. Meanwhile, Will and Hallinan and Joker are all within half a second, and some lapped car which is getting in the way. He needs to stop interfering, to be honest. It's a bit of carnage going on back here. Doo-Doo Man's getting involved now as well. Chris T's definitely in the points now. So what's happening with Hallinan? And well, let's join Slimmy because they're about to go onto the main straight. Slimmy has 35% ERS. Saeed has 5%. So Slimmy can get, like I said, within 6/10. The overtake should be pretty easy. So he's 7/10. What about the exit? He's about 7/10 behind. Is he going to use it all now? He doesn't use much of his ERS at all. He's too far away to get the job done on this lap. But he's almost guaranteed the P2 here because... Oh, let's have a look at what's going on back here. Hallinan's also trying to get a move done on Will. And he finally overtakes Will. It wasn't an overtake for the lead. As Slimmy's retired now. Uh-oh. He made I think the exact same mistake as earlier, but this time he's not been so lucky and he's retired. And that is pretty much... Well, we've got the same top three as we had a few laps ago, despite the incidents. But the order is reversed. So we've got Saeed in first with a 3.7 second lead over Hallinan. We don't have a safety car because we're in the last two laps of the race. Will the Game is 7/10 behind. Then we got Joker Psycho with his 9-second penalty ahead of Nova, who's going to overtake him, and Roller Ruler, who's going to overtake both of them. And after an incredibly kind of quiet race for Roller, he's going to find himself in P4 in the end, which is a great result. But yeah, the only fight really for the podiums at the moment is Will and Hallinan, if Will can kind of get a move done. Bit of drama at the end of the race. Nova's all over the back of Joker Psycho, and he's going to get the move done in this next DRS zone for sure. Maybe Roller could get the move done as well. He's close enough. Yeah, Nova's got the move done. Is Roller going to try? No, he was a bit too far behind. So we got 2 laps to go, and the order is changing pretty much every other corner, to be honest. What can Nova do? No, he's too far behind. But does he still have fastest lap? Let's have a quick look. I don't think so. No, Almighty has the fastest lap after pitting for those soft tyres. CT has a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. I don't know why he's in the pits. He must have broke his wing. There's gaps opening up at the front now, but Saeed is losing a lot of time to Hallinan. He was 3.7 and now he's only 2.3, so I don't know if that's mistakes or if it's the tyres going off. I suspect it's the latter. So he goes round and he's about to start his final lap of the race. He's managed to avoid drama. He managed eventually, after a lot of time, to get the lead of the race. He's losing time left, right, and centre to Hallinan behind him. But he's probably got enough in the bag, barring a late mistake, to seal the win here. Let's just follow Saeed on his final lap. See if he makes any mistakes. He's still setting quite competitive time, so he's 3/10 down on his best time in the first sector, despite his tyres being 17 laps old. Hallinan's under 2 seconds behind now. He's not closing the gap as much as he was in previous laps, though. Maybe he's conceded defeat here. Very good drives, though. Hallinan on his debut in Tier 4. Manages to get P2. He'll be pretty... well, there might be words had between Hallinan and Will in the chat after this race, but it's kind of a racing incident, to be honest, in my opinion. I could see why Hallinan should have conceded as Saeed crossed the line to take first. Hallinan second and Will third. Nova ends up 11 seconds behind because of his penalties, which means Roller Ruler gets P4, Scone gets P5. Nova... Oh! Chris ends up in 6th place, despite finishing further down. Seb manages to recover after being last for most of the race to get a top 10 result, which is really good, in P7. Nova in 8th in the end. Joker in 9th, despite never being this low due to all of his penalties. And Duduman went from last on the grid to 10th. Zab could have had a podium, ended up 11th. Dove has kind of had an anonymous race, and he finishes 12th. Brizemu, pretty late to cross the finish line. Messed up the safety car restart span and ends up 13th. Almighty on his ALR debut. It's not really one that he wants to remember, but he will take the fastest lap on his debut, so that's something to cheer about after a good first half of the race and a bad second half of the race, to be honest. Spins across the finish line. It's quite impressive. And Matt, well, he managed to kind of avoid lots of chaos to get lots of points last season. That might not be the same this season because these guys have really put in a good account of themselves, and Akasi was the only driver to be lapped. Lots of clean racing, actually. I didn't see anything too shocking. I missed a few instances further back because the race has been so close, so maybe we'll have some stewards submissions, but all in all, really, really clean racing for an entirely full grid around a track that's really narrow and has a lot of high-speed corners and has maybe only one real overtaking spot on the track as well. So let's have a look. Saeed, P1. So he gained 10 positions and he made the alternate strategy work for him. Main reason for that was the safety car, to be honest, in my opinion. Really handed the advantage to him, and he managed to overtake Will where it mattered, and then Hallinan and Will just kind of had a little racing incident. I think it was a racing incident, to be honest. And then Rollerula kind of fell back, despite starting and finishing in 4th. He kind of spent most of the race a lot further back than that. But that's what league racing is all about. It's about avoiding the mistakes, and one of the key mistakes you can make is to extend on track limits, and he avoided that. Not many people did, and that's why he gets P4. Schoen, after I said that he was having a bit of a poor race, ended up P5 despite his 3-second penalty. Chris T in P6. Again, a bit of an anonymous race, but he's managed to keep his nose out of trouble and he was only 12 seconds behind at the end. Seb, recovery of the day for me after a terrible first half of the race. He managed to kind of do what Saeed did on those mediums and get a good result in the end. Then Nova in 9th after a race to forget, and Joker, he's got the pace, so he should be pretty pleased with that, but he will be disappointed with the result. Anyway, that's it for me. We'll see you next week for some more exciting ALR racing.